The war had begun with whispers and ended with screams across the spiral arms of the galaxy. Worlds burned and civilizations collapsed under the relentless advance of the Ka Dominion. They were ancient, methodical, and patient, a species that measured conquest in centuries and considered mercy and inefficiency. For decades, the Galactic Concord tried to resist them, forming fleets, signing treaties, and sending millions to die in orderly formations. None of it worked. On the waterworld of Lithora's Prime, the last emergency council gathered beneath a fractured sky. The ocean boiled where orbital strikes had pierced the atmosphere, and the great floating cities drifted in ruins. Representatives from 100 species projected themselves into the chamber, many wounded, some flickering, as power failed. "We are losing the war," cried High Speaker Talan of the Moran, his bioluminescent frills dim with exhaustion. "Our fleets are shattered, our shipyards destroyed, and our people are fleeing into the void." A heavy silence followed, broken only by the distant thunder of planetary bombardment. They had already asked everyone, the elder races, the machine minds, the energy beings who lived between stars. Each had given what they could, and each had failed. "There is one civilization we have not formally petitioned," said Archivist Sora, her crystalline body refracting the dim light. The chamber shifted with unease. "You mean the humans?" someone whispered, their translator barely hiding the skepticism. Humans were new, frighteningly new. They had entered the galactic stage barely 2 centuries ago, loud, chaotic, and stubborn. Their territory was small, their population divided among dozens of internal factions. They were known more for arguments and experiments than for empire. "They are violent," said a delegate from the Celethi swarm. "They fight each other constantly, which is exactly why they might help." Sora replied, "They have fought themselves for thousands of years, and survived. They adapt quickly, innovate recklessly, and when cornered, they do not surrender." Another explosion rocked the planet, shaking the chamber. Talon lowered his frills in resignation. "Send the message," he said. "We have nothing left to lose." The distress call was simple and unembellished. It carried no threats, no bargaining, only truth. "We are losing the war," the galaxy cried. "If you can help, we beg you to do so." The message crossed space faster than any ship, riding quantum relays until it reached a small yellow star. On Earth, it arrived during an ordinary rotation. Cities buzzed, oceans rolled, and humanity went about its endless self-distraction. The message was intercepted by civilian Ares military listening posts and independent researchers all at once. Within minutes it spread across networks and screens, translated and analyzed. Within hours, it reached the highest councils of Earth. They watched the footage of burning worlds, heard the desperation in alien voices, and saw the scale of the threat. Silence filled the room, not with fear, but with focus. "So this is real," murmured an admiral. "A war that big finally came knocking." A civilian representative leaned forward, hands clasped. "They are asking for help, not an alliance, not control." Another voice spoke, calm and cold. "If the Car win, we are next." A pause followed. Then a single question: "What do we send?" Some argued for fleets, others for technology, others for advisors. The debate lasted hours, intense and passionate. Then a quiet engineer at the back of the room cleared her throat. "What if we send just one ship?" she said. The room turned toward her. "One warship," she continued. "Not a fleet, not an armada, just one." Laughter followed, then stopped when she'd brought up schematics that made the air feel heavy. "This is not a normal ship," she said. "It is everything we learned about war, survival, and deterrence. It is humanity condensed into steel and fire." Silence returned, deeper than before. The decision was made without a vote. Earth would answer the galaxy's cry, and it would do so in its own way. The warship had no official name at first. It existed in fragments across black sites and sealed docks, known only by clearance codes and whispered rumors. Engineers called it impossible, admirals called it excessive, and politicians pretended it did not exist. It was built not for victory parades, but for endings. Its hull was layered with adaptive armor that learned from every hit. Its reactors burned with controlled stellar fury, designed to keep fighting even after catastrophic damage. The ship carried weapons that violated polite treaties humanity had signed and quietly ignored: kinetic cannons capable of cracking moons, directed energy arrays that bent space just enough to make armor irrelevant, and autonomous drones that learned, hunted, and coordinated without waiting for orders. Most terrifying of all was its doctrine. The ship was designed to fight alone, No reinforcements, no retreat, no resupply. It carried everything it needed to wage war indefinitely when the order came to activate it. Crews were not conscripted. Volunteers stepped forward by the thousands. Only a few hundred were chosen. Each screamed not just for skill, but for mindset. The captain was chosen last. Commander Elias Rourke, a veteran of conflicts no one officially acknowledged. He had a reputation for ending wars by making the enemy unwilling to continue. When he stood on the bridge for the first time, he felt the ship hum beneath his boots. Not like a machine, but like a restrained predator. "Status," he said. "All systems green," replied the artificial intelligence integrated into the ship. It had no name, only a designation. It was designed to advise, not command, but its processing capacity rivaled planetary networks. The ship was finally named hours before departure, not after a god or hero, but after a concept: the Resolute. No speeches were broadcast, no ceremonies held. The galaxy did not even know the ship existed yet. When the Resolute jumped into faster-than-light transit, space-time folded around it in ways alien senses struggled to interpret. It did not travel like other ships. It forced reality to accommodate it. The first Ka fleet it encountered never reported contact. They detected an anomaly, a mass that should not have been able to move that fast. Then their senses went dark. The Resolute did not announce itself. It struck with precision and brutality, targeting command vessels, supply carriers, and communication cliffs in a matter of minutes. Ka ships tried to adapt, but the ship adapted faster. Every volley taught it how to kill better. When the battle ended, debris drifted silently. No survivors remained to spread warnings. Weeks passed, then months. Reports filtered back to the Galactic Concord. Confused and disbelieving, entire Ka task forces vanished. Front lines stalled, then buckled. The galaxy began to whisper a new phrase. The human ship, the Ka Dominion, did not feel fear as other species did. They processed the threat as calculation, adjusting strategy with cold efficiency. But when reports began contradicting each other, something like uncertainty crept into their collective mind. Ships were lost without recorded engagements. Fleets failed to arrive at rendezvous points. Resource nodes went silent. The Resolute moved unpredictably. It did not defend territory. It did not pursue glory. It hunted. Commander Rourke studied enemy behavior, watching patterns collapse. "They are trying to bait us," he said calmly. "Good." The ship struck a major Ka shipyard next. Not with a frontal assault, but by collapsing the star it orbited just enough to destabilize its energy output. The resulting chain reaction tore the facility apart. The message was clear even without words. No place was safe. Ka Command rerouted massive forces to intercept the lone human warship. For the first time in their history, they concentrated power not to conquer, but to eliminate a single threat. The trap was elegant, a convergence point surrounded by gravitational distortions and layered kill zones. Any normal fleet would have been annihilated. The Resolute jumped in anyway. What followed was studied for generations. The ship fought like a cornered animal, and a calculating god at once. It used the battlefield itself as a weapon, redirecting enemy fire, collapsing vectors, and turning mass into shrapnel. Ka vessels died by the dozens, then hundreds. Their coordination fractured as the human ship targeted. Neuro-command relays. When the trap failed, the Ka retreated, not strategically, emotionally. The Galactic Concord watched in awe and terror. "This is not how wars are fought," said Speaker Talon. "This is how wars end." The Resolute transmitted its first message then, not to the Concord, but to the Ka. "This is humanity." The signal said, "You came to our galaxy looking for submission. You found resistance. Victory was not without price." The Resolute bore scars, entire sections of its hull rebuilt mid-combat by automated forges. Crew members were lost, remembered quietly, without ceremony. Commander Rourke stood before the memorial wall, names etched in light. "We finished this," he said softly. For them, the Ka made one final stand at their core world, a fortress, system layered with defenses built over millennia. They believed it untouchable. The Resolute disagreed. Instead of attacking the planet, it severed the system, destroying gates, collapsing routes, isolating the core from support. Then it waited. Days passed. Resources dwindled. The Ka had never been starved before. When they finally broadcast a surrender, the galaxy held its breath. The Resolute accepted. No occupation followed. No extermination. Only terms. Strict and irreversible. The war was over.